I'd like to recognize my friend Mr. Rothfus for such time as he may consume.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Mr. Speaker, this week, the House Select Investigative Panel on Infant Lives began hearings to look into Planned Parenthood's harvesting and trafficking of human body parts, which was revealed in a series of undercover videos last year. These videos were even Democrat presidential frontrunner Hillary Clinton, in her words, quote, obviously found disturbing, close quote. Since the release of the videos last year, some have rushed to defend the organization, and Planned Parenthood and its allies have been in full damage control mode. Among the more bizarre defenses has been that the videos were heavily edited, as if the statements made by Planned Parenthood officials and a worker who harvested body parts really aren't what they appear to be. I do not serve on this select committee, but if I did, I would really want to take a hard look at that defense. The term heavily edited suggests that important qualifying context may have been omitted in these videos, but I struggle, Mr. Speaker, with trying to understand any context that would soften the language in these tapes. For example, in what context is this okay? Quote, we've been very good at getting heart, lung, liver, because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part, close quote. What about, quote, a lot of people want intact hearts these days, close quote, or, quote, always as many intact livers as possible, close quote. Do the defenders of Planned Parenthood think that they are talking about chicken hearts or livers at a butcher shop as opposed to baby body parts? Just in what context does this sound right? Quote, yesterday was the first time she said people wanted lungs, close quote. How about, quote, some people want lower extremities, that would be legs. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I guess they want the muscle, close quote. Again, Mr. Speaker, what is the situation where these statements would not shock a sensitive conscience? And what about this line? When is this an acceptable statement? Quote, using a less crunchy technique to get more whole specimens. In that phrase, the context is you have a Planned Parenthood official talking about a, quote, less crunchy, close quote, type of abortion, which begs the obvious question, what does that even mean? Can anyone who defends Planned Parenthood give me the context where this sounds good? Quote, I know I've seen livers, I've seen stomachs, I've seen plenty of neural tissue. Usually you can see the whole brain usually come out, close quote. What about, quote, I don't think it would be as war-torn, close quote, when discussing what fetal remains look like after a second trimester abortion? What would that sentence sound like in an unedited video? At one point in a video, a clinic worker brings in another body saying, quote, and another boy, close quote. A boy. In another context, you might hear, and another boy, if a mom is giving birth to twin sons. But that's obviously not the context in these videos. Finally, Mr. Speaker, can someone please tell me the context where this dialogue does not mean what it says? Quote, this is a really good fetus and it looks like we can procure a lot from it. We're going to procure brain, close quote. And further, quote, so she gave me the scissors and she told me I have to cut down the middle of the face. And I can't even describe like what that feels like. And I remember picking it up and finishing going through the rest of the face and just picking up the brain and putting it in a container. And I'm just sitting there like, what did I just do? Close quote. What is the context where these words might not be what they seem? I can think of one, perhaps, if you had a screenwriter talking about a new horror film she was writing. But this is no horror film, Mr. Speaker. These Words are direct quotes from a technician engaged in a real-world practice that is appalling, barbaric, and indefensible. The harvesting of fetal body parts for money. It is not easy to come to the floor of this House to speak these words. I would prefer not to. It is uncomfortable to listen to these words, and many people would prefer not to hear them. If that's the case, Mr. Speaker, if I don't like talking about this, and people don't like hearing about it, why, in goodness sake, are we allowing hardworking taxpayers' dollars to go to the organization responsible for them? We are a better nation than what is revealed in these videos. There are 13,000 other health clinics capable of providing health care for women, clinics which do not perform abortions. It is past time that the $500 million in federal dollars that Planned Parenthood receives every year be redirected to those clinics. I thank the gentleman from Texas, and I yield back.